Who are the names right now that the seat is the hottest beneath them, Armando?
There is no one else to point fingers at. If the same happens this year, somebody will be pointing a finger at him.
Every NFL season, there's guys that are going to get capped. Some of these guys could be in big trouble within a few short weeks.
If you waste Joe Burrow, you're a bad head coach.
Do you have reservations about him as a coach? I'm Ricky Cobb. This is the Ricky Cobb Show, presented by Prize Picks. And you know what? You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Good to make money. The focus is certainly on 2025 for all of the head coaches around the league, Armando. And with the season getting ready to start, you have a great piece up right now on OutKick. I read it, enjoyed it, where you're going through and you're talking about how every NFL season, there's guys that are going to get capped. And so the leash for some of these guys right now, even though we're right at the start, it's not very long. Some of these guys could be in big trouble within a few short weeks. Who are the names right now that the seat is the hottest beneath them, Armando?
Yeah, well, first of all, I wish I had stolen the guys are going to get capped line from you before the article actually published. That would have been, I would have liked that. Please, in future, before you know what I'm going to write, throw me good lines so I could just throw them in the article. I would start with Zac Taylor.
Will do.
Right? Cincinnati Bengals head coach. They had a winning season last year. They had a winning season the year before, but they didn't go to the playoffs. And if you are the Cincinnati Bengals and you have Joe Burrow for a finite amount of years, you better maximize Joe Burrow for that finite amount of years. Nobody knows how long. And obviously, they didn't do it last year when Joe Burrow put up like 5 gajillion touchdown passes. If you waste Joe Burrow, you're a bad head coach, okay? And that is the problem right now with Zac Taylor. Last year, he blamed it on the defense. He fired the defensive coordinator and like half the rest of the defensive staff, who is now in Indianapolis. There is no one else to point fingers at. If the same happens this year for Zac Taylor, somebody will be pointing a finger at him. So I would start with him. Mike McDaniel, another guy who's won games for the Dolphins, and more than anything, he hasn't been a disaster and hasn't been an embarrassment and didn't sue the NFL like Brian Flores did. So the Dolphins appreciate that, except that he's 4-16 against teams that have gone to the playoffs. I did math, Ricky. I went on ChatGPT and got the calculator to do math for me, is actually what happened. That's a 250 winning percentage. That's bad. That's bad. So the Dolphins are bullies against teams that are not too good. But when they play teams that are playoff caliber teams, they get demolished oftentimes. And it's one year Armando, after another. And then, of course,
you're a Dolphins guy, man. You know, I just want to jump in real quick on McDaniel because he's a guy that I thought, was like a huge up and comer. Once I got past the idea that he looked like the kid who was getting wedgies, and understanding that we live in an era of the NFL now where there are going to be coaches who look like they were on the receiving end rather than the giving end, as has historically been the case. He's a guy that I thought, he might be one of the best young coaches in the NFL. As a guy who follows the Dolphins as closely or more closely than anybody that I know, Armando, do you have reservations about him as a coach? Is this just like one of those sort of speed bumps on the way to becoming a great coach? Or is there a real problem here that he may be gone in short order if things don't pick up?
Well, he may be gone if he continues to do the same thing, which is 250 winning percentage against playoff caliber teams that make the playoffs. And also, he's got the little issue right now going on of he's trying to change the culture, and he's doing that by kind of changing things up. Last year, the Dolphins were accused of being kind of like country clubbish. Jalen Ramsey lost respect for Mike McDaniel to the point where he wouldn't want to play for him and refused to play for him. And they had players who were being late to practice or late to meetings. And then they had Tyreek Hill, who tapped out of the season finale after the third quarter, refused to go in for the fourth quarter. And after the game, told reporters, yeah, I got to do what's best for me. And that includes the possibility of a trade. So now he's trying to rehab himself. To me, if fake GM Coach Mondo is running the Dolphins and my player says that and does that, he's gone the following season. But the Dolphins, they've embraced Tyreek Hill and they love him, even though the locker room has not. Because, number one, Tua Tagovailoa said, yeah, he's got some rehabbing to do with us guys in here. And number two, they had a vote for captains this year. And although Tyreek Hill was a captain the last 2 years, he wasn't a captain this year.
Interesting. And another thing that I found interesting, among many things in this piece, and I would encourage people to head over to OutKick and read this one, as is the case with all of Armando's work. But Brian Schottenheimer was the last guy that you name-checked in the article, and I thought, man, that says a lot about the state of the Dallas Cowboys. He hasn't even made his debut yet. That, of course, will come tomorrow night. And he's already probably under the gun with the way things are in Jerry world. What is the status right now of this Cowboys team? Because we're going to get a look at them right out of the gate without Micah Parsons in the wake of this trade that has caused so much controversy. How realistic is it, in your opinion, for the Cowboys to get out of the gate with a good start this season? And as you look at your crystal ball, what do you think is in store at Jerry World this year?
Well, obviously the fact that Jerry Jones owns the team and is the general manager of the team and made a trade in trading away a generational talent in Micah Parsons, and then got in front of reporters and actually tried to sell them on the idea that the team got better by making that trade. I likened it to a used car salesman telling you that he just sold a Rolls Royce, but his lot is better because he replaced it with a Ford. And that probably isn't true. And so the same guy who is telling you that his team is better, that actually puts together his team, is he going to be the guy that at the end of the year, if it goes wrong, if it goes sideways, will go, you know what? I've lost it. I need to stop being the general manager of the team. Basically, Jerry Jones firing himself or firing the head coach. If he has to have a fall guy, is the fall guy himself or some other dude? It's probably going to be some other dude. So that's why Brian Schottenheimer, name notwithstanding, legendary name in the NFL, he should be looking over his shoulder going, is Jerry okay? Is Jerry all right? Because wins and losses may determine his fate this year.
Well, here we are. Week one, about ready to get going. We got the game tomorrow night. We got the Chiefs and the Chargers in Brazil on Friday. What are the things that you're looking at most closely? Anything else that you're keeping an extra special eye on right now as the season kicks off?
Bro, I'm going to New York on Saturday because there's this little game between the Jets and the Steelers. And excuse me, I don't understand that one. The quarterback for the Steelers played for the Jets last year, Aaron Rodgers. The quarterback for the Jets played for the Steelers last year, Justin Fields. It's delicious. And Aaron Rodgers escaped from New York. Was it Escape from New York or Escape from Manhattan? That movie. I don't remember the title of it in the 70s. You should know.
New York. Yeah, Snake
Yeah.
Plissken.
Yeah,
Russell, yeah.
Wow, I was in your wheelhouse right there. So, he had a very ugly meeting with Aaron Glenn when they asked him to fly across country. Aaron Rodgers rented a private jet, came across country from California, all so that he could sit down with the Jets and they would tell him, well, we're releasing you. And Aaron Rodgers is like, you could have told me that on a phone call. What's this all about? And interestingly enough, he doesn't appreciate it. He says he's over it and it's not a thing. Come on now. We know better than that. So I think that if Aaron Rodgers has it in him, he's going to take out a nice, healthy chunk of New York Jets, I would say meat on the bone and show it to them and go, you see, this is what I'm capable of, you losers. And by the way, the Jets lost their outstanding guard today, Elijah Vera Tucker, who is again out for the season with a triceps injury.
All right, Armando, just one of many storylines that we'll be following as this season gets underway. Appreciate you as always. Have fun in New York and look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, Rick. See ya.
I encourage you to check out all your favorites this season. I know you're going to anyway. I'm going to be watching Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. And man, I could keep going and going. I'm sure you could too. And Prize Picks is the best way to win cash watching football this season. Which players are going off? Which players aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Best yet, download the app today and use code Ricky to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Ricky to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. And it's even better to be right when you win money for being right. So head on over to Prize Picks and join me in having some fun this season, my friends, for being right. I will say that. And we got a banger for you today, folks. Armando Salguero will join me later in the program, and we've got some surprises for you. But we will begin with what might be a new recurring feature on Super 70 Sports based on the reaction that we got to the first one. Yesterday on the program, we talked about the Mount Rushmore of Jacksons that I posted at Super 70 Sports, and my selections were a little bit controversial. I chose James Earl Jones, George Jones, Tom Jones, and Deacon Jones. All right? And this one actually went up today for the Joneses. The Jackson one I posted yesterday. Who did I choose? Who were my Jacksons? I had Reggie. I had
Joe.
Help me, guys.
Joe.
I had Joe Jackson,
Samuel L.
the pop singer, which confused everybody. Samuel L. And who was my other Jackson? We're going through all these surnames. I'm starting with the J's. I'm glad that everybody is so heavily engaged that they can remember my Jacksons, but there was another Jackson in there somewhere. Bo. It was Bo.
Bo, of course.
Bo Jackson was my other one. And people took issue with me not including Michael, but I left Michael off due to, let's say, his personal picadillos. Just a little too weird for me, but somebody called me out and said I should have included Keith Jackson, and they're right. Keith Jackson should have made it. Joe Jackson would have been pushed off of the mountain by, whoa, Nelly, Keith Jackson's inclusion. But here is my Mount Rushmore of Joneses. So I don't know if I have regrets on this one or not, other than Tom Jones looks sort of like a cross between Steve Guttenberg and Greg Brady there. I debated if that was a good enough Tom Jones to even send it out, but the problem with these AI art renderings is next time around, it would have given me a better looking Tom Jones, and then there would have been 3 James Earl Joneses or something like that. So I just said, this is good enough. Damn it. So there's my Mount Rushmore of Joneses for us to consider today, gentlemen. And we've gotten a lot of response to this already. This one was just posted this morning. But as you can see here, what people are saying, David Burge correctly saying that Tom Jones looks like Steve Guttenberg. And I replied, same thing my girlfriend said. I asked her last night, I said, honey, is that Tom Jones good enough? Are people going to know who that is? We decided that it was good enough, but check out the comment right below mine there. That is Sean Cassidy commenting on his mother voting for Shirley Jones, who you may remember as Shirley Partridge, the matriarch of the Partridge family. Pete Krause Project says Basketball Jones is up for consideration. Some of you might remember that radio hit by Cheech and Chong from back in the day. And there's Sean Cassidy. He was one of the Hardy Boys, for God's sakes. Sean Cassidy and Parker Stevenson when I was a kid. This guy's a fucking legend. When I started elementary school, there were girls wearing Sean Cassidy shirts around. He was one of the heartthrobs of the 1970s. And I believe his dad, Jack Cassidy, who is one of the all-time great Columbo villains. If any of you fellas remember him, he was a Columbo villain 3 times. Columbo ultimately outsmarted him all 3 times, but I believed in Jack Cassidy's ability to win. Even when I watch a rerun now, I think Jack Cassidy's going to get away with it. So we appreciate the contribution there from the great Sean Cassidy voting for his mama in the poll. And let me go now, waste no time, go into the international streaming star who joins me for Nashville, Tennessee. He is, of course, Ronnie T-Shirts. And Ronnie, here's one that some people might have considered. Here's Tom Landry hanging out with Ed Too Tall Jones. Too Tall Jones always swore that he saw more action whenever Tom Landry was his wingman, Ronnie. Well, is it just me? I can't hear a fucking thing you're saying, Ron.
You know what, Ricky? I coughed while you were doing your monologue, and I muted and I forgot to take it off.
Okay.
I said they talked about that on the Cowboys documentary on Netflix. I was wondering why you didn't laugh. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, I don't know, Ron. I couldn't hear you. I thought it was one of your best comments that you've ever made in the history of the program. Your lips were moving, and I was getting absolutely nothing. Who would make your Mount Rushmore of Joneses? Ronnie T-shirts.
I'm going to go
Are there any guys I'm missing here?
I'm going to go deep cut for you, okay?
All right.
Bobby Jones, Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, I thought you were going with Bobby Jones, the all-time great golfer.
No, that's a good one too.
Which I was suddenly...
But I was a big Sixers fan in the, that kind of late 70s, early 80s, and he was a 6 man, right?
He was the best 6 man in basketball.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer coming off the bench.
Yeah, so I'm going Bobby Jones.
Yeah, either of those Bobby Joneses would be a good choice, but I would say the golfer has a better argument. He invented modern golf, Ron. I mean, there'd be no Masters without Bobby Jones, in addition to him making the Grand Slam a thing. I'm just so disappointed in that Tom Jones there. That is just happy 45-year-old Greg Brady is who that is. Look, let's bring in producer Tim and get his thoughts on keeping up with the Joneses here today on the program. Tim, I don't know. Any Joneses that you would nominate for Mount Rushmore consideration?
Me and Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones. Come on, man. She's fictional, I
Very
understand
nice.
it, but I thought for sure she would make it for you. But I got a couple for you. SD. Remember SD, Special Delivery Jones?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I
those
was-
wrestlers. See, I
yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, I was a fan of him. I was a fan of JYD, but there's a couple other real quick. I would do she was kind of a gapper like me. Marion Jones, even though she was later disgraced and broke and all the other stuff.
How
And
about
I don't
Tommy
know.
Lee?
Yeah, that Tommy Lee's not bad either. Tom Jones definitely on it. James Earl definitely on it. I don't know about Jerry. You know, you could do Jones for culture and sports, but I think you're pretty close, Ricky. I think the third and fourth are the toss up there. Yeah, Tom Jones are hard not to
I
get on there.
had Tommy Lee. I had Tommy Lee initially until I thought of Tom. And I bumped Tommy Lee in favor of Tom at the last moment. I felt like James Earl and George were locks for me, and then Deacon obviously was my my sports pick there. I felt like I had to get at least one sports Jones, and so I chose the man who invented the term sack, fellas. Not only was
Did not
he
know that.
the greatest pass rusher of his era, he actually named the sack. So I felt
actually
like that
surprising.
was Rushmore worthy.
It's actually surprising that there aren't more sports Jones that are at a higher level of fame and accomplishment.
Daniel, not so much,
Chipper,
right?
Chipper Jones.
Pac-Man, Chipper,
deserves
yeah.
Pac-Man, I like the
Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, yep.
There are some that deserve consideration. I mean, George Jones got pulled over. Didn't he get a DUI on a lawnmower one time?
Sounds
He
right.
was so fucking drunk. He was going to the liquor store driving his lawnmower. That's Hall of Fame first ballot right there. I knew
I can't
nothing else about the man.
I can't confirm that, Ricky, but I'm hearing in my ear from Jared that we actually we have a submission, believe it or not. Good for you. It looks like Jerry Jones reached out and sent in
wow.
his version.
Yes, I did. Upon consideration of the Mount Rushmore of Joneses, I felt in light of the incredible job that I've done in my 36 years as the general manager slash owner of the Dallas Cowboys, that I would put myself on Mount Rushmore 4 times. I did consider putting my son Steven in the 4th spot, but I felt ultimately at the end of the day I deserved it more. Dallas Cowboys.
So there you have the words of Jerry Jones, who is going kind of off the board here and picking himself 4 times. So I guess, you know, it's all subjective for all of us. You know, you could look at it and want Jerry Jones 4 times. Shohei Ohtani is having fun. He doesn't know how to do anything else on a baseball field. We've seen him now. He's back. He's pitching again. He's looking good. The fastball has hit as high as 102 miles an hour this year. He's looking dominant again, potentially, right in time for the postseason. But it is the home run power that has everybody talking. He won the MVP last year while he was out as a pitcher. 54 home runs last season, and man, he is jacking bombs again this year. 100 home runs as a Dodger already. Yeah, that's right. Number 46 of the 2025 season. You do the math. He's played less than 2 years for the Dodgers, and he's got 100 home runs. This is the 3rd fastest a player has ever reached 100 home runs from the time that they joined any given team. He is behind only Mark McGwire, who did it in, I think, 230 games when he joined the St. Louis Cardinals. And he is behind Babe Ruth, who I believe needed 250 to reach 100 when he was when he first came over to the Yankees from the Red Sox. Ohtani coming up with 100 home runs in, I don't know, Tim. You can look at it. What is it, 290 some games? He is required to do this. It's
and
pretty
Gary's
remarkable.
yeah.
And you know that you're
He
in
beat out
great
Gary.
company when you join a list populated by Mark McGwire and Babe Ruth when it comes to homers.
Yeah, big time. And it's crazy. He beat out Gary Sheffield, I think. Sheffield was like 120 games behind him for the Dodgers lead, which surprised me that Sheff had that lead.
Yeah, it surprises me too. Gary Sheffield should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. I'm just telling you right now. That guy's one of the best right-handed hitters I've ever seen. He's one of the best right-handed hitters in the history of baseball, in my opinion. Kyle Peterson, ESPN's college baseball analyst and SEC baseball analyst as well. His daughter's apparently good at hitting mailboxes. Gentlemen, have a look at this tweet from Kyle Peterson. Good morning. My daughter bulldozed a mailbox on the way to school, and I have the dog at the vet because he can't poop. It's barely 9 a.m. My apologies to the homeowner. I'll find a mason. When does college baseball season start again? Happy Wednesday. So, if your Wednesday is going better so far than Kyle Peterson's, I mean, I hope it is. I'm concerned about the dog that can't poop, Ron.
Same.
Mailbox can be replaced, but what about Fido there who's having trouble getting one off?
Got to get him
Ron,
some X-Lax, some
that's
doggy
concerning.
X-Lax.
Yeah, you're always, my mind always goes to the worst. You don't want Kyle Peterson's dog to have a bowel blockage.
No.
Or something like that, Ron. That
No.
would make this just fun and games. You can replace a mailbox, but boy, she got it good. How about the car?
I mean,
I'm assuming that she hit it with like one of the Peterson family's automobiles.
Yeah, man. I mean, she was going 70 when she hit that.
That's a big old, I mean, that's a lot of bricks there. They didn't put their mailbox in that thing expecting it to ever come down, Ron.
No.
Is what I'm saying. Absolutely bulldozed it, as he said. So, all right, Kyle Peterson, I hope that your day gains some steam as it goes on, and I'm sure that it is if you're watching right now, Kyle, because everybody's day is about to gain some velocity when I say that it's time for America's Poll of the Day. Let's go do it now. It's Super 70 Sports on X where the eagle flies high and then bulldozes you with freedom like Kyle Peterson's daughter smoking down a neighbor's mailbox. And then putting the mailbox sort of back together again and then sticking 4 good things in it in the case of the Freedom Eagle. And here are the 4 things that you're going to find in your broken mailbox today, Ronnie T-shirts. We have scratch and sniff stickers. And I should say this poll today comes to us courtesy of my lovely girlfriend. She wrote this one all by herself last night while I smoked some weed and just was her sounding board while she did it. Beverly Hills Cop is next. Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy, we all remember it well. The heat is on, Glenn Fry once told us. Third, we have Journey. So many Journey songs that I love. One of the defining bands of the early 1980s, in my opinion. And then lastly, we have The Fridge, number 72 for the 1985 Chicago Bears. William Refrigerator Perry. Break it down for me, Ronnie, as only you can.
Scratch and sniff stickers. I mean, who didn't like those as a kid, right? Like you'd get them on your paper if you did good. And for some reason, grape just comes to my head as remembering. I remember grape. I don't know. Do you remember what scent do you remember?
I remember, popcorn was one that was then you would get weird ones sometimes. Like I remember I got one time that was gasoline.
That must have been what that had to be like
a pickle.
Okay, I do remember pickle. I feel like gasoline was like a knockoff for
Gasoline smells good though, bro. Is it? I mean,
you like diesel or regular?
When you're a kid?
You like diesel?
Well, I don't know. I think regular. Just gasoline. Gasoline is a pleasing smell.
That would be a great Mount Rushmore of smells you like that aren't too popular, right? Like
Yeah.
fresh asphalt. Like I like the smell of fresh asphalt. It just somehow it reminds me of
Yeah.
summer. Anyway, Beverly Hills Cop, one of my absolute favorite movies of the 80s. Wasn't very fond of the recent remake. Not remake, but what was it? Beverly Hills Cop 3 that was, I think, on Netflix. Wasn't very good. But it was still good to see everybody, but it
Yeah,
still wasn't.
I didn't watch it, Ron. Like
Yeah.
once 30 years have passed, I
Oh,
can't do
Top
it. I haven't
Gun.
watched
Top
any of
Gun.
the,
Top Gun.
all right, I take that back. I did go see Top Gun and rave
Top
about
Gun.
it. My daughter still teased me about that. Like 6
Um,
months later, I was like, Top Gun was really good, wasn't it? Like, yeah, Dad, it was really good. Calm down. Okay. Yes, that one was good.
I cannot stand Journey. Like, absolutely cannot
Oh my
stand
God, Ron, I thought that you were
Journey.
trying to rebuild some of your American currency here today
Nope.
with your first two
Nope.
responses.
Cannot stand them. Refrigerator Perry, I will never forgive Ditka for putting him in instead of Walter Payton, and I won't forgive Perry for saying no, let Walter go. So he seemed like a nice guy, but that just always sticks in my head. So I'll never forgive him. I'm gonna go Beverly
Well,
Hills
I
Cop.
can't blame Refrigerator Perry for that. I don't think anybody even realized in the moment, other than maybe Walter, how
It devastated
what a
him.
wrong move that was. Yeah, no, it was the wrong thing to do. All those years he spent running behind Bob Avellini,
Mhm.
getting 1,800 yards anyway, he certainly deserved the opportunity to score that touchdown rather than let a novelty act have the touchdown. I don't fault the Fridge for it though. He's just a player.
Just a
Let's
kid.
bring in Tim, see what Tim has to say about this.
Yeah, real quick on
Ronnie,
the Peyton thing.
doesn't like Journey. That concerns me a little, but go ahead.
Devil's advocate. If Peyton had just scored, you would never be talking about it.
About
It's
who?
If Walter had scored in the Super Bowl, it would be a footnote in his bibliography. I think to some aspect.
Yeah, but it was for him, Tim. It was for him. It wasn't for anybody else. It was for him.
I hear you on that. But in some, we would never be talking about the Walter Payton touchdown.
No, but it was for him. That's all
Right.
it was, just for him.
I'll give you that. Kind of like the scratch and sniff, Ron. That was always for me. Even though it didn't get my vote today. By the way, Tony Saragusa tried doing the same thing. I was watching 30 for 30 Bad Boys from Baltimore last night.
Mhm.
Had no idea that the Goose was supposed to get the ball. They were up 28. Billick had made him that promise, and they ended up not getting it. Anyway, I digress. Refrigerator Perry, huge fan. I don't think he ended up that great in life in the end, unfortunately. Journey, I'm with you, Ron. I like
wait a
him.
minute. Hang on now. He's still alive, Tim, and he's doing okay, I think.
He's in rough shape, bro. Last time I saw him.
Well, I mean, I'm amazed he's still alive. Are you talking about like he's just a big fat unhealthy load? Or
I thought he's battling all sorts of ailments. I mean, I know McMahon is sort of the poster child for that team not doing well, but I thought the last time we saw catching up with Refrigerator Perry, he was a little down on his luck. But I'll have to chat
He always
GPT
looked
that.
like he might be a candidate for some type of eventual amputation, Ron.
Oh, he had to have the sugars, right?
To that point. My friend Pete Treadwell always talks about how you don't see any old fat guys. And I always delight when there's an old fat guy just so I can point out to him that his little rule is not,
Ricky,
completely true, but
we talked about that on our old podcast.
On the big guys as they get some mileage on the odometer.
Yeah, no, big time. I'm gonna get you an update on that. But I went, even though I love scratch and sniff, it was a hard one. By the way, good job getting the poll up so early today, Ricardo. Journey, I'm with you, Ron. I it's not that I don't like them, but maybe there's one or two songs that would absolutely be last on my list. But I went Beverly Hills Cop. Revolutionary, great soundtrack. The Laugh, Eddie Murphy, go down the list. What do you got, Ricky?
All right. Well, scratch and sniff stickers were great. It's another one of those things that I guess do they still make them? Are they still out there? They're certainly not popular like they used to be. I think we've lost a little something here with scratch and sniff stickers not being a big deal anymore. Beverly Hills Cop was great. I think I was 12 when it came out, and Eddie Murphy was the funniest guy on planet Earth. It was a cool movie, so, there was a lot to like there. Journey, the great Judge Reinhold is in that as well. Brad Hamilton from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So I got to give it some extra points for his involvement. Look, I'm a Journey fan. I've never seen him in concert. Are you guys aware that the dude that they have performing as their lead singer for many years now, I think he's Filipino.
Yeah, I was going to say something.
I'm pretty
something
sure.
Pacific Rim.
And he sounds, as close to Steve Perry as basically you could imagine. The guy's got unbelievable pipes. I'm not even sure that his English skills were very good when he was learning all of Journey's songs. He was like a super fan. And they heard this dude sing, and they were like, you know what? As strange as this is, looks like you're the guy. And he's been with them now for many, many years. You could look into that, Tim. And then lastly, the Fridge. Of course, I like the Fridge. 85 Bears are my all-time favorite NFL team. I am going to have to, this is a tough one for me. I suppose at the end of the day, I'm going to have to ride with Journey and Steve Perry here.
All right, let's see what your audience thinks. Real quick, Fridge, broke, diabetes, assisted living, mobility issues, Gills Bar. He's in tough shape.
Well, all righty. That's not the good news that I was hoping for, but let's see how he does.
Sold the Super Bowl ring.
He's down on the list.
Oh,
Surprising.
no. And he's an also ran in the poll today, so it's not
Better than
the Fridge's
scratching
day here. I didn't realize we were going to get all this sad news about Refrigerator Perry. But Steve Perry is going to do better than Refrigerator Perry today, but not good enough to advance to Championship Friday, because that honor is going to belong to Beverly Hills Cop and Eddie Murphy, gentlemen. So pretty reasonable effort here. I thought scratch and sniff stickers would do a little better. I thought they would get at least 20.
Get the nostalgic
I thought
vote.
the Fridge would reach 20.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I don't know if a lot of men got these, to be honest with you. I feel like most of the girls in class got them.
Well,
When we were
Tim,
little, we got them.
Refrigerator Perry has a whole litany of medical concerns that you've detailed, Tim. Caitlin Clark does as well. How's that for a segue, Tim? Caitlin Clark has missed. She's doing better than Refrigerator Perry, apparently, by Tim's account at least. But she continues to be out. She has now missed 19 straight games for the Indiana Fever. She's making progress, they say. She's working out in some 5-on-0 activities, which means that she's not doing real scrimmaging yet. And the coach says that she's going to have to go through at least several practices before there's a possibility of her coming back. So the clock is ticking here. There's only 3 games left in the regular season, fellas. And she has been sidelined since June the 15th now with that groin injury. And then injured her ankle while she was, doing whatever workout she was doing to try to get ready to come back from the groin injury. And that has possibly set her back even further. But for all we know, the groin alone has been enough to keep her out for the rest of the season. What do you guys think? If you're the Indiana Fever, do you want to rush her back at this point when realistically, I would say the Indiana Fever, even if Caitlin comes back and is playing well, I don't think they have much of a chance to do anything in the playoffs. Do you just write this one off and let her focus on getting healthy, or do you bring her back at the very end and run at least some risk that she re-injures herself?
Well, you remember last year they never got a home playoff game with her, so that could be reason enough. The way I believe they've changed the format this year, so I think they're guaranteed at least one. They're third. To your point, they're one game over 500. They're 21-20. Like, I don't know. jeopardize the franchise for butts in the seats. Because by the way, she hurt herself. She really hurt herself that exhibition game against Brazil back in Iowa. That's really where it all started, and she felt compelled to play in that game. My point is, more rest, man, more rest. Give it a mulligan. Take the year. Don't bring her back.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you there on that. And you're right, Tim. They have addressed what happened last year, because the way that they had it last year in the first round of the playoffs, it's best of 3. And it's still best of 3 in the first round. The top 8 teams out of the 13 teams in the WNBA make the playoffs. So it's a pretty favorable arrangement right now to get into the playoffs in this league. And the first round is 3 games. And last year they had it set up so that the team with the higher seed got games 1 and 2 at home, and you only got a game if you won one of those, if you were the lower seed. And the Fever were the lower seed, and they got swept in the first round of the playoffs. I think it was by Connecticut, Tim, but keep me honest. Yep. And so they never got to fill up the Gamebridge Fieldhouse for a playoff game last year. So quickly, the WNBA taking action to make sure that never happens again. The first round of the playoffs, still 3 games, but it's 1-1-1 format now. The other change that they've made is the final series is now going to be 7 games rather than 5. So
like the big boys. I like it.
Rocking with
I like
what
it.
we have seen. Yeah,
I like it. Yeah,
I don't know. 5 would be enough for me. I don't know if we need 7 games for that. Ron, I got a feeling Ron agrees with me. Ron's wondering why the finals can't be 3 games. Sophie Cunningham. It's been a minute since we've mentioned Sophie Cunningham on the program. She obviously suffered that MCL injury that has put her out of action for the season. And, well, you know, from tackling players who had given Caitlin Clark a hard time, to starting her own podcast, to twerking in malls, to now doing this on her social media with her big knee brace on. We can't play the music for you, but she's just singing along to a song like some fucking 14-year-old girl in her bedroom, Ron. Except for this is an almost 30-year-old, 7-year veteran of the WNBA dancing around half naked with her knee brace on to entertain us. Look, Ron, I don't want to go like full conservative middle-aged dad here.
Oh, but I'm going to.
I'm not impressed with it. Look, she's a pretty woman, but the internet is full of pretty women. The world is full of pretty women. You know what's even better than being beautiful? Being classy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what happened to classy and beautiful? And she insists on doing this. She's acting like an overgrown teenager.
Well,
This woman is almost 30, dude, and she's a pro athlete, and she's acting like some teenage girl in the bedroom whose parents need to have a talk with her.
Well, she's
is
coming
what it
across
seems like to me.
super, super thirsty, which thirsty's never a good look. Listen, she's an attractive woman. And you know what? If every once in a while, just in the scheme of life, she posts an Instagram or a TikTok where she happens to be wearing a bathing suit, there's nothing wrong with that. But she's just so thirsty right now. I saw that on TikTok. And there were some comments in there that were like, would you just be done with this and start an OnlyFans account already? Like, it just seems like that's the trajectory that she's going.
Trying too hard.
It's
just trying too hard.
It's such a bad look. When you try that hard, it's a terrible look.
Yeah,
like
and I'm not offended. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those people who's like, my eyes, I saw
No.
flesh or whatever, you know? But if you were her parent, and we're old enough to be her dad, you know what I mean? Like,
well, my daughter's 29.
If it was my kid, I would take my kid aside and I'd be like, honey, what's going on?
Yep.
Like, you don't need to be shaking yourself around like a piece of meat in front of strangers all over the internet, particularly when she's got a successful career and she doesn't have to do that. So maybe she'll reconsider this, but some maturity issues for Miss Cunningham, I would argue. And we are going to go to a break right now, my friends.
This fall,
You're not just watching the biggest game in college football.
you're at the game.
Bama versus Georgia.
September 27, Athens.
OutKick's giving one lucky fan and a guest the VIP treatment
This is your shot.
to punch your ticket to the college football weekend of a lifetime.
Flights covered.
Hotel covered.
Game tickets, of course. We're also hooking up 10 more fans with OutKick hats, and everyone who enters gets a discount to the OutKick shop.
No purchase necessary.
Just hit outkick.com/sweepstakes.
College football weekend of a lifetime. OutKick.com/sweepstakes.
人类的器官会不断的移植，甚至越活越年轻，甚至会长生不老。原来预测呢，本世纪呢，可能未来可以活到150岁。也不能说是说人为登记。
All right, well, no big deal. That's just President Vladimir Putin of Russia and Chinese President Xi Jinping having a conversation about how those motherfuckers are going to become immortal while the rest of us peasants just die. Ron, if anybody knows what technology is available and is ready to take advantage of it, it's got to be those two guys. What do you think when you hear about modern science and the way that the world we're getting into really strange times now in society, Ron? We're like right on the verge. Driverless cars, AI, things like, medical advances that could allow people to live a long time. Tim, Tim, I want you to jump in here for a second before Ronnie responds. Who is this motherfucker out in Silicon Valley who thinks that he can have his consciousness uploaded onto a computer so that he can be immortal?
Yeah, Sam Altman. It's crazy stuff, and they want to take his consciousness and potentially pump it through a transfusion to people who are on like organ machines, so his consciousness can be passed on through others. It's ridiculous. There are full-blown companies that are. Hey, look, we know Ted Williams is his head's still in the freezer, right? But Putin and Xi, man, if this was caught on
actually, from what I've heard.
Oh, really?
It's missing his head. Yeah. True story. They've lost his head.
So you can make me Google that. Jesus. I'll chat GPT it. These guys really want to, though, through organ transplant. This was a hot mic. They were also there with Little Rocket Man. What's his name again?
Jung-un.
Yeah.
So, but a hot mic during a military parade that Putin and Xi were basically saying, hey, there's the technology. We can live forever through organ transplants and everything else. So, yeah, frightening stuff. But the dude out in Silicon Valley he's a billionaire who wants to pass his consciousness off to other people. My God, what is the world coming to?
All right, Ronnie, there you go. With all
so
of
to
that
answer your
context,
question,
how do you feel about this?
To answer your question, Ricky. So, the truth is we only know what we know. And so based on what I know right now, that just sounds awful to me, because all I'm thinking is, so you can make sure that my liver and my kidney and my heart and all that stuff's great, but that doesn't seem to be like such a big problem with what I actually see happening to people get older, and it's their mind. So I'm going to need my mind to be like my mind is today, at least at the very worst. I'm already getting forgetful on certain things. I mean, hell, I forgot to unmute myself and I started talking. But there's so many questions. It sounds awful to me today. There's lots of things that I like now that I used to think were awful. So I guess it's just one of those things, is it's going to happen. And if we're alive long enough to be a part of it, then we're just going to kind of transition into it. But today, if you ask me today, it sounds awful.
It's like a Black Mirror episode. And without a body, consciousness without a body, I think would be tantamount to hell. You know, because how would that be different than just being completely paralyzed? You look at like somebody like Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, somebody with ALS. Yeah.
Like, look, yeah, who am I to say? Look, I don't want to say somebody else's life isn't worth living. That's for every individual person to decide. But as an able-bodied person, you look at someone who's in that scenario. Like, there was a guy who died not long ago who lived his entire life in an iron lung. He had multiple college degrees, I think, and whatever, but he spent like his entire life.
The boy in the plastic bubble.
A little child in a fucking iron lung. Yeah. So what is the quality of life? You've got to have a body in order, or to me at least, it would be hellish existence. I don't want consciousness without a body. Now, if you can put me in a young body and give me consciousness and turn me loose, well, then that's probably different, you know, yeah. Ron. But with that being said, I say WTF to that, but I'm sure that's not the only fucked up thing that's happening in the world. So what the fuck, Ron?
Well, you know, the last thing you said about, you know, who are you to decide what's when is life worth living? Are you familiar with, have you heard of Abby and Brittany Hensel? They're the girls, the conjoined twins. Yes. They had a TLC. They're about 35 years old now. And so, Ricky, a couple years ago, they got married. And this has been a topic of discussion with Lori and I, with our friends. But only
one of them got married, right?
Correct. One of them is only legally married.
Yeah.
And so this isn't an opportunity for me to make fun at their behalf and those kind of things. It is a serious, dude, I got so many questions. So they are conjoined. I mean, they share torso, organs, bloodstream. So this guy married her, but so when they're making sweet, passionate love, does the one girl just put a pillowcase? She put a pillowcase on her head and just.
Which one is he married? Yeah,
he married Abby.
Yeah, because that's her. That's her vagina too, right?
Correct.
They share one vagina.
Yes, and so does the one that he's not married to feel the sensations of sex, of caressing, of all those different things? And again, do they have a hood for her that they put it on her when they do the deed? There's so many questions, Ricky.
That sounds kinky. That almost makes it worse, Ron. It's like, look here's.
Well, does she sit and watch?
Ron, I think a bigger problem is blowjobs. Because, like, can you just imagine, like, during blowjobs, is she just like.
I think they have to do it together.
Be over here somewhere. I just.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way. I mean, you know what I mean? That's a bad position for her to be in.
So the one that's really funny to talk about is the sex part, right? But there's all kinds of other things. I mean, so, you know, Lori and I like to watch TV together every night. So what if she's like, I hate that show. And Abby's like, well, me and him love this show. We're married. We're like, I have so many questions. So the reason we are talking about them today, Ricky, we're taking it one step farther than you ever imagined. There's baby.
Oh my God. They're pregnant?
I already had the baby.
She's pregnant?
Already had the baby.
They already had a baby?
Yep.
Whose baby is it? Are they both the mother?
They have the same vagina, Ricky. I don't know. I mean, he wanted.
How does it work?
I assume
their vaginas have different social security. I mean, but that's one vagina and two social security numbers.
Is that like two girls, one cup?
So, like, well, I didn't say that. How do you work that out, Ron?
Again,
I mean, seriously,
so many questions.
They're legally two people, but they've got two arms and two legs and one uterus.
Yes.
So, like, how does that work out?
intent.
I guess you just give
intent. You
credit
have to
being
assume that the
mother
guy
to the-
intended to get
to the
his
one
wife
that-
pregnant. So
Yeah.
it's her.
He was
I don't
trying to
know,
get
Ricky.
that head pregnant, not the other head pregnant.
Correct. And so again, so many questions. And then this is the one that somebody has to say it. What happens if like one like kind of dies? Because I know they share organs, but like what if are they gonna cut the one head off? Like what is like these are things we gotta think about,
possible?
Ricky. I don't know.
I don't think you can just do that.
Well, if she's dead, if the head is dead.
But how can she die if
Well, if she's brain dead, like she's brain dead,
it would kill
like
both of them, right?
But if she's brain dead, what if she's brain dead? I don't
know. You put a football helmet on her and just pretend that everything's okay.
So
I don't know.
Being the awful person that I am, it wasn't last year, but it was 2 years ago. I was desperately trying to get Lori and our friend Ashley to go as them. I wanted to get like a big wedding dress and I was going to wear a suit and we were going to go as them. So anyways, again, so many questions.
Well,
can Ernie get them on the show?
I would love for him to do that.
I think you're the guy to interview him.
Well, they're not going to come on the show if they see this segment. I can tell you that. Ron, I mean, look, I wish them well. It's just such a weird.
Yes. So many questions.
Story. Yeah.
So many questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. Just curious. We're like children. We're like curious 7-year-olds. That's all that it is. We're asking questions.
Yes.
What else you got, Ron?
I don't even know how to transition to this one, so I'm not even going to try. Baltimore Ravens. They just put out a 11-item menu for the people. Under $5. Look at these prices, Ricky. Listen, I know you're going to have to pay $400 to get into the game, but at least you can get popcorn for $1.99. You can get a pretzel for $1.99. Nachos, $4.49. I mean, this is nice.
Well, it's a good start. It would be nice if other stadiums took
Atlanta
on some
does that.
sort of
Atlanta has inexpensive
paying
prices.
customer relief. If Augusta National can do it, Ron, I figure NFL teams can do it as well. Look, we live in an era where there are more legitimately good food options at ballparks and stadiums than there have ever been before. When I was a kid, it was just popcorn,
hot dogs,
dog,
Coke.
Pretzel,
And a
Coke.
Yep.
That's it. Nobody had high expectations. Now there's all kinds of specialty items at every park, and they're making bank. But it's nice to see. I'm glad that the Baltimore Ravens have done the right thing for Ravens Nation, Ron.
Yeah.
So that's a good story. Maybe those girls and their husband can get out to a Ravens game this year. And
how many tickets would they have to buy?
I think they only have to buy one, Ron.
It's based on the butt, not on how many heads are seeing it.
One butt, because they don't need 2 seats.
But
right?
2 people are consuming
2 seats if they wanted to.
But 2 people are consuming the action.
Well,
so many questions.
That's true. It's a lot of questions. Let's go to poll replies, shall we? I'm fascinated by this entire thing. That guy, what an interesting man he must be. Let's see what people are saying here today. It's Beverly Hills Cop that is going to be your Wednesday winner here on the show and will be advancing to Championship Friday. Second place, Steve Perry, not Refrigerator Perry. The great Rex Crum weighs in and says, fewer comedians have ever had the fastball that Eddie Murphy had during his Beverly Hills Cop era. Listen, Eddie Murphy was the funniest guy on the planet at one time. If you were alive in the early 80s, mid 80s, shit, even the late 80s, you know what I'm talking about. Rick Darris says, would you believe that I met Refrigerator Perry at a Journey concert and he gave me a scratch and sniff that smelled like banana in a tailpipe? Rick Darris. Isn't that the name of one of the guys from Chasing Amy? Am I crazy that it was Rick Darris?
No, you're asking.
I got a feeling that that's where that name came from. I think it is. Jim Kaiser, the poet laureate of Super 70 Sports, is not going to lie. The scratch and sniff haiku I was going to write was so bad, I couldn't bring myself to post it. It's all right, Jim. We know that you hold yourself to a high standard, which is why you are, in fact, the poet laureate of Super 70s. If you were just cranking out substandard material, we wouldn't hold you in such high esteem, my friend. Washington Football Memory says if they made a scratch and sniff sticker that smelled like Refrigerator Perry after attending a Journey concert,
That's gross.
that would be my vote. That can't be good. I don't know what
gross.
that would smell like, but
something like ass.
No, I mean maybe
it smells something like ass.
Refrigerator
Ricky.
Perry is wearing. Maybe he's wearing a nice cologne, and he didn't do anything
they didn't say
sweaty at
before the concert. They said after the concert. It would smell like
what
ass.
do you think he's doing during the concert?
You
He
know
might just
he's
be sitting
dancing,
there
and big men
quietly
sweat.
enjoying the show.
Big men sweat when they dance.
Yeah. Well, that's a theory that probably has some credence. The Moops. And thank you for being a subscriber and a customer. This is a fine individual, the Moops. Good choices today, but if I can vote for a Clemson kitchen appliance and Super Bowl legend, I'm doing it. And there he is. Damn fridge. His brother, Michael Dean Perry of the Cleveland Browns, was a damn good player. He was a Pro Bowler, right? If not an All-Pro during his day. All right, my friends, I think that's going to cover it here. Ronnie and I are going to hop on the phone and continue our conversation about Abby and Brittany for about the next hour, but we won't do it on OutKick's time. My thanks to you, Ronnie, as always. My thanks to the great Armando Salguero. Always fun to have him on the program today. My thanks to Molly and Adam and Colin in Nashville, to P.A. Jarrett, and of course, the finest producer to do the damn thing. He is Kid Clover. Some remember him as. I refer to, of course, producer Tim. And most of all, I thank you, you sweet bastards, because without you, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. And it's a blessing to have the opportunity to attempt to entertain you 5 days a week. And I love you. You can find us, as always, at Fox Nation, OutKick.com, and YouTube. The Ricky Cobb channel on YouTube. Please go subscribe. That would be awesome if you did. The podcast is on Apple and Spotify, and you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. And of course, you can find me on X very easily because I'm the Super 70 sports guy. Drop by, pay me a visit. It gets lonely when you don't. And most importantly, let's make a deal that we'll meet right back here tomorrow when we will tee it high and let it fly on the first day of the 2025 NFL season right here on The Ricky Cobb Show.